Well, I got just a few minutes here. Before somebody comes over here, I put some oak planking, all the oak planking on here, remember? They're coming to pick it up. I posted that on Facebook Marketplace and I got it sold. Well, while I'm waiting, I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to go ahead and paint the wall, from the wall down to the top edge of the baseboard. I've already painted the baseboards, and I like to do that first, and that way I don't really have to cut it in. I can run the paint right up here so I can get this top edge nice and clean, and then it'll be easier to paint the wall from here down. As you remember, I've already painted the walls, and I came down about that close with the paint roller all the way around. Okay, so now I've got to cut it all in, and I end up using this paintbrush right here. See there how it's cut at an angle? Just a little one. See there? And that's all I'm going to use, and you know, I'm going to put my paint in just a little paint tray like that. I'm going to slide it along. I'll take a piece of cardboard, take that piece of cardboard, and I'm going to put that metal tray on there so I don't scratch the pre-finished nice floor that we just installed. But I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just do a slight dry run for you, so to speak. Let's get in this. Let's get in a corner. How are you gonna paint? How are you gonna paint a corner like that? You know, and there's a real knack to trying to get paint. How on earth would you paint that without getting anything on this edge and being able to see this and stuff? You've got to take this and kind of put it up. What I do on an inside corner is I'll get the corner first. So I'm going to put this right up against the wall, the short side. Okay? And I'm going to bend down, and I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to bend this down here. And then see, I can stretch the paintbrush. So I'm going to have it up here. I'm not going to have a whole lot of paint on the paintbrush when I do this, but I'm going to go right down in there like that and wiggle it a little bit and pull up, you know, just a hair, and get right there on that corner, just the corner. Then I'm going to come back up at a 45 this way to get this over here. I'm going to go like this, just same way, and I'm going to push down. And if you can see, the paintbrush is pushing down in two different directions, isn't it? And it's going to be right like that, and then I'm going to pull that along there, like that. Then from here down, I'm going to get it differently. I'm going to put the paintbrush like this, and just kind of fold it down. And then I'm going to pull it right along there. Granted, once I get the paint on the paintbrush, I don't want to get too much paint at the bottom edge. I'm going to get some paint on here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to clean off that a little bit. Then I'm going to go down like that and get it, and then go back, and then I'm going to pick up some paint right here, and then I'm going to go back again. And sometimes when you have spray texture on your walls, you may go over this 2 or 3 times and think, my word, it's not covering everything. There's still little bits. And you might have to take your brush like that and then wiggle it as you go. Or you may have to then turn it around this way and go back that way, and you'll pick up the other ridge of your spray texture joints. Okay, it's kind of a knack to do this, and I like to try. Like for a wall like this, I would go from left to right. So I would finish that little corner, then I'd be down here, and then I'm down here on my hands and knees on my floor pad, and then I'm going to go right along there like that. Boom, 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 boom. Then I may have to go back that way. You get good at it if you practice. Then to do this over here, going this way, I'm off here. I've already done that, like that, and then at a 45, like that, and then clean that up, and now this way. Now how am I going to do that one? Well, I'm gonna then work over here on the left-hand side. Okay? I'm going to work on the left-hand side. And then I have to position myself differently. And I'm going to go at a 45-degree angle because I've already gotten this. I don't do this over here like this because it's hard for me to see that. I like to do it on the other side. But right here, I'm going to be just like that. And then I'm going to pull that a little bit. Okay? I'm going to push it down here and get it, look down there, get it exactly where I want and pull. And I'm just going to do a little bit until I then can reach in there and get this flat. And then I'm gonna bend way down like this so I can see exactly where it is. I'm always using my right hand on both sections, okay? And then as I get down further, I can put my hand here and do this way, okay? Like that. And once I get out of the corner, what I'll do is I like to do from left to right, okay? So what I would do is I'd get in this corner right here. I would start right there. And then I would go this way as far as I could get. I gotta check my phone here for a minute. But see, I would get in here, I would do this and get that right there. And pull that up right there to get this little bit. And I'd go at an angle and get that. And then I would come along here and I would go as far as I could over this way. About to there. Okay? And then I'll turn around and do this last little bit with my right hand, you know, like that. And then come across. I like to work from left to right. I just have an easier knack to do it. And so that's how I'm going to do this baseboard. I'm going to do this whole thing like that. And if you want, you can put the craft paper down on the floor first. But I'm just going to slide this little piece of cardboard along with my paint tray. Dab and go, and I'll be fine with this one little paintbrush. I'm going to do that today. It's going to look really good when I get done. And I'll show you. I'll paint some after a while and I'll show you how it's done. But I wanted to kind of give you a dry run to have you get an idea how you're going to use this. You don't have to be a professional painter in order to paint, okay? Start painting yourself and save that money. Let's just look at this little area a little bit. The worst thing you can do when you're trying to cut in a line, you're trying to cut this line in, is load your paintbrush up and have so much paint on there that as you're getting ready to put it on the wall, you're going to use all that paint right along that edge. It's never going to work. Never. That paint is going to run over the edge. You may say, "Oh, I'll just hold it 1/8 of an inch above the baseboard until that paint kind of runs off there." That's not going to work either. And then what's going to happen is you're going to create a line right there, and every time you go back to try to finish it, that line extends down here, and then pretty soon you hit that line of paint, and then it spooges up on top of the baseboard. You just can't do that. So when I'm not gonna get a whole lot of paint on here at any one go. I'm only gonna cut in probably from there to about here at any one time. But what I do is once I get the paint on here, okay, and I'll clean it up, and that's why I like to not use. That's why I don't like to use a bucket or anything like that. I like to just use a little paint tray because I can just set it in the paint tray, dab it a little bit like that. Okay, now as I have it on there, I'm gonna come up here high and I'm gonna wipe this paint off on the wall like that. I'm gonna wipe it off the wall, okay? Then the paint that I have here is my staging area. I use that paint and I'm gonna end up using most of that paint down here, okay? I'm gonna put it on here and kind of wipe that edge off up high so I don't hit the base. Then I'm gonna come down a little bit lower, and then I'm gonna kind of clean my brush off, and then I'm gonna come back in here like this, slide it down. See how I can put the paintbrush up here, and then just bend it, and it pooches down, and I can make a line just like that. And then I'm only gonna go so far. Then I'm gonna take this paint like this, where the staging area is, and I'm gonna load it up on my paintbrush, and I'm gonna do it again. Boom. Okay? And then if I have ridges on here, which I do, the spray texture, sometimes when the paint goes on there, it doesn't cover up all those ridges. You may think, oh, I just put more thicker paint on there, more paint. Well, you don't want too much paint down to this edge, because then it could start running on here, or you could make a line there. Now you're like, oh man, how do I get that off? Okay, I see what he's talking about now. And so I may go like this, you know, once or twice along here. And if I still see something, I'm gonna flip it around. And then I'm gonna do the same thing backwards. And I'm just gonna hit that, boom. And that's gonna take the paint that went over that bump, and it's gonna pull it back on the bump where it missed. You see what I mean? And it kind of takes a knack to do it. And so that's why I want you to watch these videos on me cutting this in, okay? Because it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky, but you can do it if you just spend a little bit of time on it, a little patience. And again, I like to go from left to right. I just have a better knack of doing it. But see, if you're going from right to left, if I did this wall from right to left, this is how I would do it. I would see, as I'm right, I have to look down low enough over the edge of this paintbrush so that I can see this edge. So I'm gonna be down, I'm gonna be like that. And then I've got to hold my hand way up here. It's kind of awkward. I could hold my hand here and do this, or I'm going to hold my hand here, and then I have to really bend down in there to see that. Do you see what I mean? It's very tricky in order to do it from right to left for me, with me being right-handed. It's just because I'm here like this, and I have to really get down and dirty so I can see it. This is usually how I'll do it. You know, put my hand out here, put my head down here, but I can't do that when I'm in a corner. If I'm in a corner, I may have to kind of do this business, you know, as I go. So that's why I like to go. That's why I like to go from right to left, because I'm right here, I'm dabbing in my paint tray, I've got my knee pad here, and I can just kind of be like this. Put it on, get down in there, and go for it. Take my paint right here, do it again. You can't just cut it in. You can't just cut this line in one time and think you're done. It's never gonna work. You've got to get more paint on there, and then swish it around there. See, I got some high spots over there, and then I'm going to have to fill that in, make sure I get that plenty of paint on there. And then when I get down in here and cut that in, I may end up having to cut that in twice that direction. Then I may have to go back this way to hit any bits that are missing. So, I mean, you're talking from this little section, I'm going to actually cut it right into the baseboard, probably 3 or 4 passes. Do you see what I mean? And I just push it up here, slide it down there. Don't just try to put this exactly where it goes. It's hard to do that, okay? I'm going to be up here, I'm going to push down, spread it, squeeze a little bit, and slide it. And see, that's the other thing. I've got eggshell paint on here. You slide that eggshell paint on, you might think, oh, it's not thick enough. Then you got to put a little bit more on and then go back this other way to clean it up. You see what I'm saying? So it takes a real knack at doing it, but if you're patient and you have a steady hand, you can do it. Okay? And that goes for around door frames, that goes for door frames, that goes for around windows. Same thing. You know, I'm just putting it up like that, bending it, and then I get right down where I need it. You know, when I do a corner up there, I do the same thing. I do this and squeeze it in there to do that inside corner, then come down here at a 45. Come down there at a 45, do that one up there at a 45 and go a little bit. And then I'm kind of upside down. I'm kind of upside down as I'm holding this on my ladder and stuff. And you'll get pretty good at it. And then when you get done, do the best you can. When you get done, you can stand back and you can kind of look. Now see, up in here, I didn't do too great. It was very difficult. Man, it's hard to see. Where are we? It's hard to see that up there. But I can see there's different spots. Excuse me. There's some different spots up there where I can go back there and do a better job. Some of it could be on the ceiling. Some of it could be on the wall. Okay? And I can clean that stuff up. But when you're working and you're up there high off of a ladder and you're trying to do the best you can and you've got a light on or you don't, you know, you're just up there. You're holding your head up at an angle and you're trying to hold this as best you can flat up against the ceiling. Your eyes start getting wiggy, you're squinting, you're getting tired, you're sore and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes your trim doesn't look very good. Now that wall, I'm gonna cut this wall in again. Now that it's dry and I line back, I can see the different areas. So I can stand back, get up there on a ladder and clean up that line. Now this line over here, I did way better. I don't know what the deal is. This one came out nice and straight. And up here on the soffit, that actually turned out pretty good. There's a couple little spots where I see one over there and one about there. I can clean that up. And the other day, I had to paint with this little paintbrush right up along the scribe mold of the cabinets. Now I see I got just a little bit of paint up there. Hey, I could only do the best that I could up there and contorted different positions and stuff, and I'll be able to clean that off with a sharp putty knife. And in fact, I might want to do that first thing this morning with my sharp putty knife. And I've got a sharp one here. See how sharp that one is? This one here used to look like that. I use this one for all kinds of stuff. When it gets bad, don't just throw them away. You should have seen the other one I had. It went about that big, and I use that for all kinds of stuff. For scraping and stuff, it finally snapped off, and now I'm using that one. So I just kind of go on down the road. But try starting to do your painting. Hopefully you've been watching some of my painting videos, so you can go this whole video series on my channel to find the painting episodes, or you can go to my YouTube channel and go to my main channel page, go to playlists, and then scroll down to painting, and I've got all my videos that I've done painting with are there on the playlist. You can do it, and you can start saving. Don't start paying somebody else to do all your painting. From now on, you can do it yourself.